Hello and welcome to Child Development 180, School Age Development. My name is Dr. Jessica Alvarado and I'm your instructor for this course. I'm so glad that you're in this course and looking forward to all we learn together. I want to walk you through the week one lecture. Of course, you can always turn the sound off if you just want to flip through by yourself. But I do like to talk just so hopefully you can feel a little more connected to me and then just kind of hear my voice. And as we go through the slides, make sure that you kind of think about the different elements of the content, write some notes if you'd like, and of course, since it's recorded, you're welcome to go through this slide multiple times. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so welcome. Again, if you need anything during the course, I am more than happy to support you. Email will be the best method of contact for me. Generally, it takes me less than 48 hours to return an email. I really strive for less than 24 if possible, but of course things happen. If I'm in the middle of grading, sometimes that might slow me down a little bit, but I do try to pay as much attention to email as I can. For those of you who don't know me, I have worked at Palomar for quite some time now. I did take a few years off of working at Palomar. During that time, I finished my doctorate and I started a family. So I am married to the most wonderful man, I think. And together we have a 3-year-old son whose name is Caden. And it's just been a lot of fun becoming a mommy and kind of putting some of the things that I know into practice and kind of seeing some differences of kind of who I am as an educator or a caregiver and seeing who I am as a mom. So that's been a lot of fun, a lot of learning, but definitely a lot of fun. So if you want to learn more about me, I posted a profile in the course, and I also posted an announcement with just a little bit more about me, kind of my educational background, kind of like my research focus. So feel free to read that when you have a chance. All right, just some basic course policies, and these are actually posted in the course, but I just want to go through them pretty quickly here. Please know that your discussion posts are always due on Thursday by midnight. Actually, I think the cutoff might be 11:59 p.m. according to the system. I would encourage you to post early. Things happen. Sometimes something in our family comes up. Sometimes we get stuck at work a little later than we thought. And of course, it always happens when something is due. So I would highly recommend that you post early, but just know that the initial post of the discussions are always due on Thursdays. I noted this in the course, but I just want to say this here as well. There are no late discussion posts or responses that can earn credit. So if for some reason you go on vacation or something happens, you cannot earn credit. So even if you post the best post of your life on Friday at noon, you still can't earn any credit for it. So just be aware of that. And I like to say that up front just so you know my expectations, and that kind of helps you form your schedule for your work. For the written assignments, so for any papers, any journals, any sort of written assignment, the policy is that you can turn it up to 3 days late, but no, there's a 10% deduction per day. This applies only for the first 15 weeks of the course. So the last week of the course, if you don't turn your work in on time, there's no late work accepted. So again, you can turn in late work for the written assignments up to 3 days late, but there is a 10% deduction per day. So after the 3 days, even if you hand in a wonderful paper that meets all the requirements, you can't earn credit. And I don't do this to be mean or to be harsh, but it's really so that we can stay on top of the content together. That helps me keep my grading on time, that helps you keep your focus, and then as you are kind of building this foundation of what you're learning and what you're applying, it helps keep you on track as well. For the quizzes, there's quiz nearly every week. They're short. They're usually about 10 questions, a mixture of true, false, multiple choice, that sort of thing. You have an hour to complete the quizzes. You may not complete the quizzes late. So on that deadline, 11:59, it closes. That is it. So even if you start at 11:58, at 11:59, it will cut you out. It will kick you out. So if you didn't finish and submit your quiz, you won't earn any credits. So just make sure that you're aware of that. Of course, we're all online. We want to build a community in this course. We want to have engaging conversations. We want to have fun with one another. I want you just to be aware of kind of the way that you phrase things, being professional, that sort of thing. So not just with me, but with your peers as well. So just be aware of that. Sometimes things can come across a little bit differently when they're written in text. And people can't see your facial expressions or your body language, so just be aware. And if you have any questions, concerns, you need support at any time during the course, please, please, please email me. If you're confused about an assignment, if you're struggling with writing, whatever the case might be, feel free to reach out so I can support you. I may not have time to tutor you in writing, but I can refer you over to a writing center or give you some quick tips, that sort of thing. So no matter what it is, please just reach out and tell me. I really want to support you in this course. So whatever it is, I'm here. And then lastly, just I want you to be present in the course. You'll see I'm very active in the course. I will post in the discussion forums. I will ask you questions. I will post announcements. I will send emails. I will give you detailed feedback in your assignments. And I just want you to be present with me. So let's have a great course together. We can learn from one another, and that's really a perk of an online course. So let's be present and let's learn. All right, so moving on into the week 1 focus. Again, I just posted here the assignments that are due. So you want to read chapter 1 in your text. You'll complete discussion 1 by Thursday, and you'll also complete your first quiz by Sunday. This exact information is posted in multiple places in the course. It's in the syllabus, it's in your calendar. I put a week 1 overview announcement in the course. So it's there, but I just like to remind you. During the first few weeks of the course, I will send out email reminders or post announcements of, hey, don't forget this is due. And then you'll see me slowly stop doing that. One, because after a few weeks in the course, you've got the hang of it, you know what you're doing, and I don't want to add one more email to your inbox. So I will slowly start pulling away from that. But in the first few weeks, I'll try to remind you as much as I can. And for week 1, we will go over the caregiver qualities and caregiver roles for school-aged children. So just keep in mind, I know some of us have varied experiences with children. We've worked sometimes with very young children, maybe high schoolers, whatever the case may be. But just remember, for this course, we're focusing in on school-age children. There's a number of different titles or names for caregivers. It could be teacher, caregiver, guide. With school-age children, you'll hear recreational supervisor, counselor, leader, aide, assistant. The list can go on. So be aware that sometimes these titles or names are interchangeable. Not in all cases, but you'll see sometimes even in the text, they'll refer to titles a little bit differently. Of course, these can have very different roles in a lot of ways, but just I want to put that out there so you kind of are aware of that. You may even have experience in a particular environment where you were called a leader or a lead, but maybe in a different environment, or if you were in a different setting, you might be called, a supervisor or a lead teacher or something like that. So just putting that out there for you to be aware of. So moving into who is an effective caregiver. I'm sure you can list a million different things here. You may have an idea in your head of what you think is an effective caregiver. So we can have a little bit of differing opinions here, but I think for the most part we have probably some common ground here. So I would say an effective caregiver enjoy school-age children. Hopefully, if they're working with school-age children, they enjoy them. They can relate well to them. They have knowledge of how children develop. That's really key when working with school-age children, kind of knowing some developmental domains, understanding some of the things that school-age children may go through. Those types of things can really inform your practice. And then I would say an effective caregiver can work collaboratively with other professionals. So if they're in an after-school program, they are a team player. They work with the other caregivers to ensure that the children are safe and secure and that they're providing whatever care and support that the children really need. Here's just some more ways that we can look at who's an effective caregiver. So encouraging independence in children is really key, as you can imagine. An effective caregiver allows freedom while setting limits. Obviously, limits are essential to working with school-age children. We don't want children just doing whatever they want, whenever they want. They listen and communicate clearly. They guide children in social problem solving. And they're constantly working to learn more, support more. I think the true mark of an educator or caregiver is one who is really trying to learn as much as they can so that they really can do a good job in their work. Using our own personal interests to support children's development is really key. So if you are very good or you have a real interest in a particular sport, you might use that to support children in whatever. It could be sports, cooking, the knitting, the list goes on. Obviously something that would be developmentally appropriate and age appropriate for this particular range. But obviously you want to be a good role model. You want to enjoy physical outdoor activity with this age group, and you want to model this. So you don't want to just tell the children that they should go outside and play. Why don't you guys go play soccer? You want to be involved, right? You want to say, hey, let's get a group, let's play a game. And you're involved. You care about the families. So remember, working with children is not just the children themselves, but really when we work with children, we also work with their families. So it's sort of a dual role in some ways. We work with the children and the families. And we really understand the role of a caregiver and reflect on our work. So regularly, I would encourage you to take time to reflect on your practice, what's working really well, what you might do to learn more, how you can do something better or more effectively. And that's not to kind of put yourself in a frame where, you know, oh, I'm not so good, but really in a place where you can say, here's what I'm doing really well, and here's some of my challenges, and here's how I'm going to work on them. So that's key in any age range that you work with when you work with children. So when you have some time, I want you to pause and reflect. Consider some additional characteristics that you believe make an effective school age caregiver, excuse me. And then kind of just thinking about yourself as a caregiver, what do you feel are the top 2 characteristics that you can bring? So you may have 2 in your head that pop out right now, but maybe pretty soon you might think something different. So I'd encourage you kind of, especially in this course, to pause and reflect regularly. As we're entering into the first week of class, I just want to recommend that you look into Palomar's Child Development Majors group. You can learn more about this group on the Child Development page on the website. Jenny Ferrero is the Department Chair of Child Development, so she's a really good resource if you have any questions, but it's a great group that you might want to consider joining. And then as you begin thinking about your future work with children, I would encourage you to learn more about local and state licensing requirements. Consider individual center requirements. So if you have a particular position that you are working towards at some point, I would encourage you to start thinking about those requirements, and a lot of times you can find this information on the website. And then just thinking about a combination of education and early childhood education.